Welcome back, boys. All right. You saw the thumbnail. We're going to do a one-time video. This is basically a War Machine comparison video. There's a couple Ironmen, as you can see. We have, 45 and 46. Little bit of a story with these guys I'll go over in a minute. And I'll get to the details of all of these War Machines. I've mixed a couple up. There was a few I swapped some parts on, nothing major, but I did think it enhanced it better. The changes that I've made. All right, let's start with the 45 and 46. So I'm going to put them more in order here. All right. These are all Hot Toys. High-end, all die-cast. Not complete die-cast, but these are all die-cast figures. What I'll do is I'll start from the ground up, but I want to show you one thing. On these two Iron Men in particular, what I did was the neck and the heads I swapped. And I'll tell you why. I'm not sure. They're both the same height. I just have different stances. So if you see the heads, and I've pulled the heads off and I've measured them with the War Machines, whatnot, this head is just bigger. Now, I'm looking at it, and yeah, you know, it needed a little gold in the neck just to kind of break it up, and that's where the gold in the neck on this one comes from. But it doesn't look bad here either, because it's just... Most Iron Men, you could probably interchange a lot of hands, pieces, and things like that. So when it comes down to it here, pieces fit on, interchangeable pieces fit on like magnets, love it. They've closed up the shoulder gap on the 46, the 45, it's still gapped out. A lot of people complained about that. The helmet on, now you got to remember, this is the 45 helmet. This is the 46 helmet, okay? Now, with that being said, you can see the differences. These are, I guess, air vents are indented, none here. But that head looked just too big on this body. I don't know what it was. This one's chest, 45, is a little broader. And I'm going to tell you the reason why I got these two Iron Men. I did a lot of video watching, a lot of comparison. The only thing I don't like about this one is you have this piece here on the chest that moves for articulation purposes. Other than that, that's probably my favorite nanotechy Iron Man suit. This one here looks good. I like them both for different reasons. The paint on camera, you can see, is definitely different. But you can't notice on the head. I'm just so glad the head paint matches. Yeah, but this head was too big, and I'm like, there's just something wrong. And then when I swapped the heads out, I'm like, that's perfect. On the 46, there was a collar piece that went in here that... when you drop the neck piece on, it kind of filled in. There's still no gap when I swapped out the heads. This one has a little bit of a gap, so I could probably take the 46. You'd have to cut it, modify it a little. It's not worth it. That little gap there doesn't bother me. It actually goes with the shoulder gaps now. So here's Mark 45, 46 with the head swapped. And I think 46 looks so much more badass with the head on it. Here's why I got... So the War Machine, I got a good deal on it. The Mark 6. I didn't really want it. It's probably, out of all of them, my least favorite figure. But when I look at it, though, he's like a bulky, kind of hulking more badass, tougher looking Iron Man, I guess you could say. So the reason why I got one of the regular Iron Mans, I wanted one to really go well with this. I wanted one to match the suit, and I wasn't sure if it was the 45 matching, but that head. See, the real problem is this head. I know he's in the foreground, but this head is just so big on this Iron Man. I think it might be a little too big just in general. When you have it compared to other Iron Man, when you have it by itself, it really doesn't look that bad. Big head motherfucker. Anyway, you got the War Machine. I love the red eyes on the War Machine with the black and, silver or whatever. He looks like a badass. So I wanted something to kind of just go with him. Match the style. So I think these two or these two. So you tell me, 45 or 46? Probably the 45, unfortunately. Because I do like the 46 better, but when it comes up to matching with this Iron Man, I didn't want to bother you guys or just, bog you down with a bunch of individual reviews. I think I did 2 reviews, and I was like, instead of milking it, let me just put it together, do a big, nice comparison video. So if you were kind of on the verge of being into or getting Iron Man War Machine figures, I've always liked War Machine since back in the day. So I just went with it. But again, I got him to accompany because I wanted like a duo. And if I was going to get this one, he's nano. I don't really like the nanotech. The nanotech to me is like magic. I'm more of a metal bolts rivet guy. So when you get into stuff like this, now I'm not crazy about the look, but to me, this is the original War Machine, the Mark II before it. This is when Iron Man split off. So this here went to War Machine, and then he made a Mark III, which continued, the rest of the Iron Man. This isn't the 2.0. This is just the regular one. The 2.0 is going for crazy money, and I'm not down with that. I don't need to worry about smudging reflective paint, even though it would be nice to have. Don't get me wrong, but I'm not that big of a fan. But here we go with this, the Mark II. Now on the Hot Toys here, flaps come out. They're not all the same. When Hot Toys first started doing these figures, I just have a little protection there. When Hot Toys started doing these figures, they weren't die cast, they were plastic. Then they started coming out with the die cast versions. And these have been out for a while. I just haven't gotten any. But yeah, I already put the metal pieces. I didn't want to go down this rabbit hole, and I'm glad I waited. To be honest with you, there's a lot of suits out there. Watch videos. Do your comparisons. Find out what people are saying. See, at first people were saying, oh, the Mark 45 was, peak Iron Man. A nice blend between nano and normal tech, I guess you could call it. This is the first appearance, so that's kind of the look I was going for. I didn't want too much nanotech. I was looking at the Mark 7. That's an highly sought after piece. It looked good, but after a while I was like, you know what? I don't like it. I like a little more like a sleek, but when it gets too much into a suit, I don't like it. Kind of like how they that RoboCop remake. I don't like shit like that. Which will bring me over to this Punisher. It looks too much of a skin suit. So I'll go over it quickly, but I'll come back around to it. So this Punisher in the comics, he stole a War Machine armor with the help of Nick Fury, something like that. And to go kick ass. I love the steel-toed boots. Love it. This one's great. I don't have the War Machine Mark III, because this is a War Machine Mark III repainted with just a couple slight differences. Again, I'll always shout out Justin's collection. He does a great job of going from head to toe of these figures and basically just showing you the details and everything. This guy I love. I love those bolts in the face. He's fully decked out. They had actually a concept art where he was in the normal War Machine colors, and after I saw it, I'm like, I don't know. I didn't care for that look of it, but I mean, that's cool. You could put these guns on the side in the back a couple different ways. I found out recently you can attach them to the arms, which I did, so they can be in view. You got these up here. The original. So getting back over to here, it kind of looks like a skin suit. This head came with this Punisher. The only difference is I took it off like he's holding the helmet. That helmet's bigger than the Punisher one. It just, I love the Punisher. I love the concept of it. Him stealing the War Machine suit. I mean, there's no other badass to be in a suit like this besides him. He should, maybe use one once in a while or pull it out once in a while when he's fighting a boss. I don't know. They should let him have access to a suit or have him keep one stolen. I think that would be a cool storyline, even though I don't follow or watch it. But this is the Mark IV. So it goes Mark III / Punisher to the Mark IV, which at first I didn't care about, but then I started seeing the camo painted on. I'm like, yeah, that's cool. So the only thing I did was take the Punisher, put it here, because this body's bigger. It doesn't look as skin suity. So it looks like he could potentially put that helmet on, and it looks like he is in a suit. And it fits perfectly. I mean, people might complain about like gap stuff like that down there. But look, I'm still at a great angle. Even if you move the head down a little, give him like a little kind of, more of a forward look. That might be a little too much, but you get what I'm saying. You can move it around. You can adjust stuff. If you've been collecting, you know the deal. Each of them come with slightly different weapons, shoulder cannons. A lot of the shoulder cannon stuff kind of pisses me off. This, when you bring it up on the Mark IV, it's like right next to his ear. Like, look how close these are. It's just, when you have, the cannons are just coming right off the back of his head, it seems. It's like, I would have spread them out a little more, man. I mean, like this. See the cannons? They're far back. Even the Mark VI, I took off the cannon just to make him more of a hulkish brute. Spread them out. This one, the original War Machine from the comic, they have a couple lines. So they have the regular plastic line. They have this is going off of memory. I might be missing a couple. They have the Power Pose line where, as far as I know, they only had 2 that came out. I don't think it was that popular. They were plastic, and you couldn't really pose them. They were one pose. Then they also did a comic accurate version. As far as I know, they have 2 of these. They have the original Iron Man and the War Machine. The Gamerverse, or whatever they call it, I guess that Punisher is from some sort of video game. They have the Black Panther diecast, which he turns into a panther, which is like I don't know what line that's called. I think it might be part of this line. I don't know. So there's a couple lines they have, and then they have the diecast, which I got into. These are heavy 11 to 12 inch figures. They've upscaled, downscaled. Like the Mark 45 might be taller than the 46, for example. There kind of has no rhyme or reason. A lot of the older ones, like this guy, you can't tell because he's on a little bit of a stand. But he's a little bit smaller scale than the other ones. Just slightly. This one is probably my favorite, even though he's covered in this plastic shell, which I don't know. It really doesn't bother me. Look at that. This is the original, you got the, and I don't care for it because it's too organic looking for me, but I like it on this guy. When Iron Man War Machine first came out, it was like, it gave him like a muscle suit almost. It was more form fitting. Weapons can, Gatling gun can rotate. I also love the fact that they gave him two guns or two shoulder cannons, whatever. A missile launcher, a Gatling gun. As time went on, they seemed to get a little skimpier and skimpier with the weapons on War Machine for some reason, because by the time Mark 6 comes out, he has just one little shoulder cannon. There's no forearm gauntlets. There's no asymmetry. My whole thing with War Machine was that, the asymmetry. I loved it. It's weird. I love when things are perfectly straight, aligned, level, whatever you want to call it. But when it comes to like cyborgs, I don't mind them having different guns, different shoulder pads, maybe a different boot or knife, or you see, this is different than that. He has the light on the side. And you got to remember, this came out in an era where this shit was happening. Two different guns. Love that War Machine. All right, let's go through it in order. So the Iron Man's just whatever, they're in the back. So we got Mark II. They took Mark II, turned it into the War Machine, the government. So here's your two versions. Here's the movie version, and there's the comic version. Gun can rotate on a slide. It's hard because you can't really interchange some of the parts, which, seems like some would go better with others. Mark II, into War Machine. Both, basically, these are the same model, different art. I have him hooked up with the battle damage, badass. Then we go up to, I don't have the Mark II because the Mark II it's just like, it reminds me of too much of a suit. It's smaller than all the rest. I just do not like it. The only time I'd get the Mark II is there's an Iron Man suit. I think it's called Hot Rod or something. It looks like it's like the War Machine body with whatever. That would be the only other one I'd probably get. And then switch the arms and legs with like a different War Machine. So whatever with 2. Here's technically 3.2. The Punisher upgrade. So he threw another cannon on. See, it's like, what did War Machine go soft? Why does he have one cannon on the Mark III? He only comes with that one on the Mark III. And then, he turns into Punisher and gets more guns. It doesn't make any sense. This is fucking War Machine, and they're softening him up. Except for when it came to part 4, I think they realized, if you see the War Machine Mark III, it kind of, I don't know. He has a laser baton. He doesn't seem like War Machine. I think they softened him up. Then they get to number 4, realize their mistakes. Hey, we're getting too soft with War Machine. Let's bring him back. They got the Gatling gun on the back. They put the ammo on. They got a red arc reactor. Fucking looks great. Looks like he's in a suit. Then, so you got 4. Then we go over to, this is technically Mark V. I've watched a couple videos trying to explain, the different suits because they didn't really mark some of them, whatever you want to call it. So long story short, this guy here is technically 5.0 Iron Patriot War Machine. Then we get into because there's nothing after that. You go from basically that 4 to 6. This is the only thing in between. Come over here. You got your Mark 6. And again, I wasn't too thrilled about it, but I'm like, it is War Machine. I almost skipped on him, but the whole thing was to get an Iron Man suit that kind of matched him so they could be you know, fight buddies. Yeah, Iron Man's a lot smaller. Oh, so that's it, guys. I just wanted to show you. I wanted to go over here. I didn't want to milk a bunch of videos. I wanted to give you some comparisons on Iron Man. The 45 and 46, like I said, do some research. You can't tell that the head on camera, or if you're comparing it to another one, is bigger all the time. So I'm glad I could show you this. The neck and head are supposed to go on the 46 as far as I know. But here you go. He has a little more gold in the neck. He has a little more red. So I think either way it works out. You see this design as opposed to this design where you have this piece. I have them bent in a little bit, so that's why this is prominently sticking out. It can go flush. One last thing. People complain about the statues with heavy die-cast figures. You see that clearance, how it's almost touching there? I did that on purpose so I can see just how he's been there for a month like this. So with that being said, it hasn't even moved. If you set up these stands the correct way, they won't move on you. They'll be good. Just still be careful. If you're unsure about it, don't do it. It can be done. And that's one of the heavier, bigger ones. Please like, share, subscribe. Thanks for watching. Stay tuned. We have some more coming in. Just taking a break from Super Robots for a second to show you some other die-cast figures out there. In the form of War Machine. Because War Machine is a badass. And then you mix them up with Punisher, it's a wrap. Thank you guys. Like, share, subscribe. Peace.